Indian trade. From 1 CE all the way through the next 2 millennia, up to 1700 CE, all the large-scale industries like mining, metallurgy, textiles, arts and crafts flourished in India and boosted trade to such an extent that India held about 1/4 of world GDP. A key reason for this was the Indian navigation system that was the best in the world and was the backbone of trade. The supremacy of India in the world of trade has been brought out by the modern economist Paul Kennedy in his book The Rise and Fall of the Great Powers. He observes India's share in world trade, which was a very healthy 25% of the total world trade, drastically dropped to a decimal percentage in a span of 200 years, which was the period of the British rule of India. Professor David Clinging-Smith and Professor Jeffrey G. Williamson of the Harvard University in their work, India's Deindustrialization in the 18th and 19th century, mention the impact of 200 years of British colonial rule in India. They write, India was a major player in the world export market for textiles in the early 18th century. But by the middle of the 19th century, it had lost all its export market and much of its domestic market. While India produced about 25% of the world industrial output in 1750, this figure had fallen to only 2% in 1900. Similarly, Professor Angus Maddison, an economic historian in his work, The World Economy, A Millennial Perspective, talks about Indian supremacy in world trade for such a long time was mainly due to the sustainable and industrious practices of the people in its hinterland where all the main industries were located. The home of knowledge, wisdom and philosophy for thousands of years, this is amazing India.